great job of rigging this. They've done a great job of rigging this league. The league, they're not even being subtle. They're not even being subtle. Oh my God, this is embarrassing. This is embarrassing.
The whistle blew, the crowd in Indianapolis held its breath, and the scoreboard froze at 90-88. A packed Gainbridge Fieldhouse had just witnessed what many called the game of the year, except nobody walked out talking about basketball. They were talking about the stripes. For 4 straight quarters, the Indiana Fever and the defending champion New York Liberty traded haymakers, but time and again a referee's call, or lack of one, tilted the floor. By night's end, the Liberty had strolled to the free throw line 32 times, while the Fever, an attacking, paint-first squad, got only 15 attempts. -17 in one night, -31 over their last 4. Egregious, head coach Stephanie White fumed afterward, her voice shaking. Disrespectful. Fans aren't shouting conspiracy for fun anymore. They have data, slow-motion receipts, and a highlight reel of no calls brutal enough to make a hockey ref cringe. Tonight, we dive into that reel, trace the bias back a full season, and ask the one question the league can't outrun. Is the WNBA protecting its stars or protecting its favorites?
I can't believe what I'm about to say. The Indiana Fever, with the strongest, loudest, most intimidating home court advantage in all the WNBA, just got robbed at home. I saw it with my own 2 eyes live on CBS.
Stick around, because what we found will change the way you watch every Fever game from here on out. It was supposed to be a celebration. ESPN cleared a national window, tickets sold out in under an hour, and scalpers were getting Super Bowl prices for lower bowl seats. Caitlin Clark versus Sabrina Ionescu in a playoff-level atmosphere. Marketing gold. For the league office, this was the perfect commercial. New face meets reigning champ, loud arena, packed sponsor rows. But less than 3 minutes in, something felt off. Aaliyah Boston got bodied on her first post touch. No whistle. Clark was hip-checked on a curl. Play on. Meanwhile, at the other end, Jonquel Jones earned 2 free throws for a brush on her ponytail. By halftime, the Liberty had doubled Indiana's free throw total, and social media was already on fire. Slow-motion clips popped up in real time. Clark's left wrist bent backward on a layup, Boston shoved while boxing out, Lexi Hull knocked off balance on a close out, all ignored. "This is embarrassing," one analyst tweeted. Another simply wrote, "rigged."
And another case of WNBA referees dropping the ball, not making the right calls when it comes to Caitlin Clark.
Yet the Fever kept swinging. Clark buried a 4-point play, Boston bullied the paint, and rookie Lexi Hull turned into a human spark plug, diving for every loose ball. The crowd reached ear-splitting levels when Clark drilled a 33-footer at the third quarter buzzer to tie it. With 2 minutes left, the game was knotted at 86. Cue the referees. A phantom foul on Hull sent Ionescu to the line for the go-ahead points. At the other end, Duana Bonner drove, got hammered across both forearms, and stared in disbelief when silence followed. Final possession. Clark curls left, Natasha Cloud hacks her twice on the arm, then bumps her mid-air. Ball squirts free, buzzer sounds. Game. Fever players surround the nearest official. He walks away without eye contact.
Like even the playoffs last year, do we not remember when Caitlin Clark is shooting a layup and she's in the air and Marina Mabry commits a block, a hit on the arm, a blocking foul, like a whatever hit on the arm foul, everything. She just comes late and is like, Caitlin's not getting a layup. Jumps sideways into her, takes her arms out, knocks Caitlin on the ground, and then stops because she knows she's fouled, and the referees are like, play on, play on.
The boos were immediate, but the controversy was larger than one loss. Comment sections filled with fans new to the league, brought in by Clark's college superstardom, asking the same question. If you won't protect your biggest draw, what exactly are we watching? But one ugly night is still just one night, unless it's been brewing for a year. Rewind to Clark's rookie campaign, and the warning signs flash like hazard lights. Remember the Kennedy Carter blindside hit? A frustration foul, off the ball, shoulder straight to Clark's ribs. Review referees downgraded the play to a common foul, and the league office later admitted the mistake, but no suspension, no fine. From there, the hits kept coming. Chicago's Marina Mabre clobbered Clark on an airborne layup. Officials swallowed whistles in real time, upgraded it to a flagrant one only after the game. Statistically, the imbalance has been almost cartoonish. Over Clark's first 40 professional games, opponents attempted 93 more free throws than the Fever. During one preseason stretch this spring, Clark logged 3 full games without a single trip to the line, despite averaging 10 drives per night.
It is kind of interesting that Caitlin Clark hasn't been to the free throw line at all.
Head coach Stephanie White finally did the math after the Liberty loss, -31 in free throw differential across 4 games to open 2025. It isn't just the numbers, it's the optics. Clark gets clobbered, grimaces, sprints back on defense. Next trip down, a Liberty guard feels contact on a reach-in and immediately performs the universal raise the arms routine. Whistle. Fans see that double standard, clip it, and replay it 500,000 times before breakfast. Former players have begun speaking up. WNBA veteran Renee Montgomery noted on a recent podcast that if you let physicality turn into hacking, you're not protecting anybody, star or role player. Analysts from ESPN to SB Nation have published breakdowns comparing contact thresholds in men's and women's games. The conclusion, consistency is missing, and games involving Clark draw the widest gap. Patterns, though, only matter when someone is willing to break them, and that's where Stephanie White enters the chat.
I think it's pretty egregious what's been happening to us the last few games. A -31 free throw discrepancy. And I might be able to understand it if we were just chucking threes, but we're not. We're attacking the rim. And the disrespect right now for our team has been pretty unbelievable.
Stephanie White was finished being diplomatic. Standing at the podium after the Liberty game, she didn't need to shout. Her voice carried a tight tremor that said more than volume ever could. "I might understand it if we lived behind the arc," she began, "but we're attacking the rim. The disrespect right now is unbelievable." Then she dropped the number everyone would repeat the next morning, -31 in free throw differential over just 4 games. White spelled it out so even the back row could feel the sting. Caitlin Clark led the league in drives. Aaliyah Boston made her living on the block, yet whistles kept swallowing their breath whenever a Fever jersey took contact. The eruption served a triple purpose. First, it blasted the story onto every sports ticker in the country, turning a regional complaint into national pressure. Second, it told her locker room she was willing to eat a hefty fine just to prove she had their backs, a gesture that can tighten the seams of any young roster still figuring out its chemistry. Third, by laying out concrete stats instead of vague frustrations, she dared the league office to ignore hard evidence, and in doing so forced executives to reckon with the perception that their officiating standards shift depending on who's wearing the uniform.
In the quarter by 17 points, that's what put us in a position to have a chance to win. So essentially, we really played one good quarter of basketball and lost to the defending champions by 2. So I guess that's positive. A lot of ways to continue to get better.
Clark has mastered the art of the controlled burn. She doesn't rant. She observes, jots mental notes, and delivers a 2-sentence summary deadly enough to trend on its own. Asked about the ending, she shrugged. "Had some tough ones. My arm was getting grabbed, but whatever. We'll keep playing." Reporters in the room felt the temperature drop 10 degrees. Body language, though, betrayed the composure. On the final play, freeze frame, her mouth is mid-yell, eyes wide, palms upturned in classic "are you kidding?" pose. As she exits the floor, an official deliberately looks the other way. That image ricocheted across X within seconds, captioned, "When the ref knows he messed up." Clark's restraint isn't indifference, it's strategy. She's the league's golden ticket. Record jersey sales, sold-out road arenas, a broadcast rating spike unseen in 20 years. Her mere hint of dissatisfaction is a PR thunderclap. And while she won't torch referees publicly, every clipped elbow drives the narrative deeper. Treat her fairly or risk alienating the new audience she hauled in by herself. But if a superstar's coded warning doesn't shake the establishment, maybe cold numbers will. Across the Fever's first 4 games, the raw numbers paint a lopsided picture. Indiana drives to the rim roughly 25 times per night, yet they average only 15 free throw attempts. Flip the script and you'll find New York attacking just 18 or 19 times, but stepping to the line an eye-popping 30-plus times. In other words, the Fever are -31 in free throws after only a week of action, while the Liberty enjoy a +31 cushion. Zooming out doesn't soften the blow. Of the league's 10 worst free throw gaps recorded so far, 9 have come in games against Indiana. On average, Fever opponents are being rewarded with about 11 extra trips to the stripe every night, a swing large enough to decide most contests. Advanced player tracking adds another layer. Caitlin Clark ranks 6th league-wide in drives that end with contact, yet she sits dead. Last among those top attackers in how often those collisions turn into whistles. The percentage difference between her and the next player on the list is a staggering 8 points, an outlier big enough to make statisticians double-check their spreadsheets. Boil all of it down, and one conclusion keeps bubbling up. Whenever Clark is on the floor, the standard for calling a foul seems to shift, and the Fever pay the price. From a business standpoint, 2025 is a make-or-break year. National TV slots jumped from 25 to 40. Google's viewership metrics show a 68% spike in male 18 to 34 demographics, straight-line correlation with Clark's first month. Sponsorship dollars are pouring in, but eyeballs come with scrutiny. Casual NBA fans know the rules, and they're stunned when identical contact draws opposite whistles from one possession to the next. Add social media's magnifying glass, isolated clips for every missed call, side-by-side comparisons, and slow-mo breakdowns that rack up millions of views before the league office finishes lunch. When those compilations headline SportsCenter instead of game highlights, brand image suffers. Veterans notice too. During a recent Atlanta Dream telecast, All-Star guard Ryan Howard gestured at refs mid-play, exasperated by hand checks. Color commentator LaChina Robinson sighed on air. Consistency, that's all players want. The clip trended for hours. Fans saw a theme. It's not just the Fever yelling into the void. The worry? This doesn't just irritate Clark fans, it stalls league growth. New viewers won't invest if the outcome feels predetermined by whistles, and sponsorship departments grow queasy when controversy morphs from occasional storyline to weekly headline. Which raises the million-dollar question, can the WNBA fix the optics before opportunity slips? 3 days after the Liberty game, the Fever announced Clark would miss at least 2 weeks with a quadriceps strain. New York Post comment threads instantly wondered, did the relentless hacking contribute? Team doctors said no, but perception doesn't wait for medical reports. The league's brightest star sidelined while footage of uncalled fouls circulates 24/7. That's a public relations nightmare. Meanwhile, the schedule shows upcoming national windows featuring Minnesota's unbeaten run and a surprise Rookie of the Year race in Washington. Those storylines deserve spotlight. Instead, discourse is consumed by officiating. Even non-sports outlets, from Good Morning America to late-night monologues, are riffing on the Let 'em Play saga. Yet hidden in the chaos is a massive opportunity. Fix the whistle, issue stronger post-game reviews, maybe even adopt an NBA-style coach's challenge, and the league earns goodwill overnight. Players want it, fans crave it, sponsors need it. The Fever's frustration could catalyze modernized officiating if executives act quickly. Because one truth is undeniable, with Clark, Boston, Ionescu, Collier, and a crop of dynamic rookies, the product on the floor is finally strong enough to command mainstream attention. All it needs is a fair arena. League officials have 2 roads. Road A is denial, issuing boilerplate statements about ongoing review processes while finding coaches who speak out. That road ends where countless leagues have crashed. Dwindling trust, conspiracy talk on every broadcast, and empty seats once novelty fades. Road B is transparency, publish last 2-minute reports, mic up referees with real-time explanations, expand replay to flagrant reviews and endgame drives. The NBA's path from the 2007 scandal to today's still imperfect but credible system proves fans forgive mistakes. What they won't forgive is silence. Insiders say Commissioner Kathy Engelbert is considering tweaks. A pool reporter can now question officials post-game. Pilot programs for in-arena replay centers are under discussion. Nothing official yet, but even whispers signal motion. If change arrives quickly, the Fever Liberty thriller might be remembered not for controversy, but for sparking the reforms that pulled the WNBA into a new era. And urgency grows. Ratings analysts project a 20% drop in male 18 to 34 retention if officiating controversy remains the top social media topic by midsummer. That's real money on the table, and sometimes revenue speaks louder than any coach's press conference rant. When a -31 free throw gap sparks headline after headline, when your most bankable star is fouled on the final play and nobody blows a whistle, when coaches risk fines just to be heard, it stops being part of the game. It becomes the game. Basketball purists want the storylines we should be talking about. Aaliyah Boston's evolution into a top 5 big, Sabrina Ionescu's late-game heroics, Nafisa Collier's MVP push, Kiki Iriafan's shock rookie run. But none of that breathes if every broadcast pivots to officiating outrage. The league has momentum, eyeballs, and the deepest talent pool in its history. What it lacks is the one thing only it can provide: credibility. So here's the challenge to the WNBA: prove the floor is level, because if even casual fans smell bias, the product they're buying isn't competition, it's theater, and theater only sells when the script is airtight. Drop A in the comments if you think the league needs immediate reform. Drop a "I'd" if you believe the stars will force that change themselves. Either way, smash the subscribe button, because we'll be tracking every whistle, every fine, and every silent headshake until this story finally gets the ending it deserves.